pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Roll call. Mark Cinnamon.
Present.
Jeff Cooker. Ellison Kidcroft. Here. Denny is absent. Joy Fay. Here. David Simpson.
Here. Okay, additions to the agenda. Right now I have one item I will bring up under new business in regard to pot of wine. First, I need, if there are no additions, I need approval of the agenda.
Make a motion. Second.
I have a second. All in favor? Those opposed? Okay. Next item will be citizens addressing the board. First, we have Kalen Bailish.
For future reference, it's Callan.
Sorry, Kalen.
It's not a big deal. So, I'm going to tell a story about how I ended up in Chabanah. I'm a real estate agent, entrepreneur, and investor. I found this property that had great potential, the Chabanah Hotel. It was in rough shape with many years of deferred maintenance behind it, but could prove ultimately to be a great asset to me and to the little town of Chabanah, which seemed to be having a real economic issue with vacancies all around. I thought to myself, what an amazing opportunity. In one fell swoop, I can invest in a great asset, mind you, with many tens of thousands of dollars, and likely eventually hundreds of thousands of dollars of money, and years of time investment, while providing an affordable place to stay for people in a town that could really use it. I thought the town could really use a catalyst to kickstart economic years in a place with great potential and a great setup for being an incredible destination and place to live. While I was looking at the property, a neighbor warned me to talk to the mayor first, so I did. I called up the mayor. I was met with a list of demands. There was no, great, that's wonderful that you're considering investing in our town. A list of demands. He told me the village wanted to tear down the porch and the ramp. By the way, you can't live there due to our zoning ordinance. Also, you can't run the building known as the Chabanah Hotel as a hotel without a variance. If you get the variance, be aware we're going to be making overnight parking by permit only, so your business may be screwed. Also, you can't leave it empty either because we'll fine you for that. Not one word about working with me to help make the dream of refurbishing this building and populating it with thriving businesses a reality. He said maybe the village would be willing to help with running a ramp around the back, which is useless to me, but that would be up to the board. I thought to myself, well, working with this village government may be a nightmare, but I'm a reasonable guy, I'll work with anybody, and the dream is worth it. I can really make an impact in this town. So I purchased the property. There were many arrangements that needed to be made before I could get moving, but not 2 weeks after I purchased the property, I received a certified letter in the mail accusing me of breaking the zoning ordinance and living on the first story. I lived in Big Rock and had barely the chance to look at the property yet.
I believe I have a copy of the letter.
The letter is worded as such. Dear Mr. Welsh, when we spoke on the phone, I thought I was clear on the occupation of the building at 104 West Comanche. In order to occupy the building, you must comply with all village ordinances. The council has recommended that I contact you in regard to certain ordinance violations brought to our attention at your property located at 104 West Comanche Avenue. It has been reported that you or someone is lodging on the first floor of the building. If this is true, you must cease and desist occupancy. So, frankly, I found this infuriating. What a warm welcome. What a warm invite to the village of Chabanah. Firstly, I simply didn't believe that the board recommended this threatening letter. Why would you not just call and ask? I spoke with you, Don, about your concerns around vacant buildings in town and agreed with them. Why would you treat someone who has promised to invest in your town and help to directly resolve the exact vacant buildings issue you say is your top priority this way? With threats and demands, and it wasn't true. I broke no ordinance, I wasn't even there. Instead of talking like a respectful human being, you came to me with harassment and bullying and threats. And you treated my good friend Josh Snyder the exact same way. And you treated other friends I've made in town the exact same way. Since purchasing the property, I've made tens of thousands of dollars in investment and many months of blood, sweat, tears, and sleepless nights on fixing the place up. Josh Snyder has also done the same with his building, 103 West Comanche. Another formerly vacant building that is actively being remodeled with 100% of the financial risk on us and us alone. My business depends on parking. Up to 2011, the parking lot adjacent to my building was part of the same lot the building sits on. The village filed a suit of adverse possession for the lot and won with some conditions. When I expressed my concerns that the recent streetscape project would eliminate a drastic amount of parking next to my building, bringing the usable spaces in the lot from 14 to 5, no one in the room asked, is there anything we can do to help support this business, one of only a handful we have downtown? Instead, I was told, and I quote, the village is not required to provide private parking, and you left it at that. Okay, that may be true, but then I would question why on earth the village wanted that lot in the first place. In any case, the village should not be telling the very people making the largest investments into downtown to go jump in a lake when they voice their concerns. They should be working with those business owners to help find solutions that are good for everybody. That brings me to the ramp. I have a copy for everybody. Letter states.
Excuse me, but I'm gonna have to have you wrap this up in about 30 seconds. You have 5 minutes. That 5 minutes is about up.
Can I have 3 minutes?
Fine, 3 minutes.
Okay. As you may be aware, our office represents the village of Chaminade, and I've been asked by the village to contact you regarding the handicap ramp and rail at your property listed above. I have been instructed to demand that you remove the handicap rail immediately, as it encroaches on village property. For your information, improvements to the property it sits on will necessitate its removal, and failure to remove the ramp and rail may hinder that project, subjecting you to monetary damages. The ramp predates the adverse possession case. Obviously, the ramp is good for my business because it allows wheelchair users access to the first floor, so why would the village want to destroy it? I could think of a couple valid reasons, but no reason was ever given me for the desire to demolish the ramp. As far as I could tell, this was a personal pet project of Don Goncher because not a single board member ever talked to me about it. I was led to believe the streetscape project necessitated its demolition, but upon looking at the documents, that was very clearly not the case. In all the engineering documents, the ramp remains untouched. The ramp is in the way of nothing, so what's the point of demanding I demolish it? Just because you enjoy wielding power? Whose interest does it serve? You take the parking lot from the hotel, you yank away most of the parking as well, and you also demand I demolish my ramp and my porch. All while threatening to charge me with ordinance violations I did not commit. Why make it so difficult for me to run a business? Whose interests are you serving? At every single step of the way, I've been impeded, and no one has ever asked, how can we help? This despite the fact that I'm one of only a handful in town actually doing something about the vacant building problem. I've invested close to $100,000 into the project, and I've made no money, and won't for several years at best. I've inherited nothing. These are my life savings on the line. I've done everything by the book. I've complied with the zoning rules, and I met at every turn with malice and approached with threats and bullying. I've heard from multiple board members that nobody wants to work with us. If nearly every single property and business owner in the village is turned off by this board, which I can attest is in fact the case, then perhaps this board, and especially this village president, need to look inward rather than outward at everybody else. Look at how you're treating people and ask, why would anybody ever want to work with you? I've had the pleasure of speaking to a number of people in this room personally, and I personally like a lot of you. And I think ultimately we both want the same thing for Chaminade. I want to bring Chaminade back. This is a great town with so much potential, and it bothers me on a deep fundamental level that a town like this has fallen so far. Bringing Chaminade back will never happen when so many feel they've been unfairly treated by the village government, including me. You have to understand that you are wielding the iron fist of government. Everything you do carries a threat with it, ultimately a violent force for noncompliance. That power should not be wielded carelessly and haphazardly, but should be wielded with great care and caution. You have that responsibility as acting members of government. Mark, I believe we're meeting set for later this week. Is that right?
I don't recall that we do, but it's possible.
Okay.
I don't remember.
I don't.
Setting one up.
Okay. I'll talk to you after. I don't think it makes sense with limited time to try to reach an agreement right here. I'm probably going to bed right after this meeting. But I'm happy to schedule a meeting with any board member individually later this week, at any time. You guys have my number, and I'm very flexible. If you think I'm crazy or unreasonable, that's your prerogative, but please talk to me, find out. I will promise to tell you the God's honest truth. I hope that's worth something to you.
Thank you. Now we'll hear from Josh Schneider.
So I sent an email to the Building Shabana Together Economic Development Subcommittee, and I also forwarded the email to all of you. I'd like to just read it to get it on the record. I haven't been too public about this until recently because I thought I could follow all of the rules and do things the right way to renovate one of our downtown buildings and put a new business in town. I purchased 103 West Comanche Avenue, across the street from my office, the Shabana Hotel, with the plan to renovate the downstairs into a retail store and the upstairs into apartments. I knew getting into it that the village is very hostile to the property owners downtown, but I figured I don't know the full stories people are telling me, and I'm willing to follow the ordinances and rules. I bought the building in late March and immediately hired a mason to fix up the blockwork and scheduled a roofer to perform some repairs. Overall, I wanted to get the building shell fixed up so I could start on the inside. I told each company that I'm trying to do everything exactly by the book and was insistent on them getting permits before any work was done. The mason needed to do the work first, and it took over 2 weeks for B&F to issue the permit. But that is not the village's fault. They did not begin repairing my building until the permit was issued. But that did not stop the village president from calling B&F the very first day the mason started, with an issued permit claiming that I was illegally building apartments on the second floor without a permit. Vince from B&F called me and asked what was going on, and I explained that I have a permit for the masonry repairs and no work is being performed to renovate apartments. That ended the witch hunt more or less, or so I thought. Then the streetscape construction began. I ended up getting a call from someone at Fairgram, the company who's in charge of the project, about the wooden cover that was in front of my building. She explained that the original streetscape drawings had them cutting the concrete sidewalk around the cover, but when they got there and saw it, they thought it was better to remove it, reinstall it, and put up a steel railing to block it off. I said I was fine with it, but as long as they weren't going to fill in underneath it. It is covering an old stairwell that leads to the basement of my building. I explained I would like to reopen the stair in the near future to allow the basement to serve as further retail or other space instead of being dead space. I also had asked if it was possible to move the parking lot they were building next to my building over slightly so vehicles were less likely to hit my building. Fairgram said that the parking lot had more than enough space to be moved over and would ask IDOT. Later that day, I received an email saying that IDOT had approved the modification and that the only party left that needed to agree was the village. There was an infrastructure committee meeting later that week, so I went and explained what I was asking and tried to explain that IDOT and Fairgram had already said it was okay. I also mentioned that I was working with Fairgram about the wooden covering. Don Goncher then went on a huge, long rant about how the covering was on village property, which it is not, and that he was going to have them rip it out and fill it in with concrete. I tried to explain that the box is actually on my land, but he would not listen and continued to threaten filling it in with concrete. I decided to give up and let him rant and threaten. When he got to his parking lot during the rant, he basically said he was going to refuse to work with me. Now, before Don's rant, Mark Zimmerman did bring up a valid point about a concern if it would cost any extra to move the parking lot, to give credit where it is due. The end result of the parking lot and wooden covering did end well with me, but pretty much only because of Fair Graham. I truly believe Don intended to be petty on this issue of the parking lot and was trying to illegally fill in my stairwell. But I talked to Fair Graham after that meeting, and they scheduled a meeting with Don and Mark to advocate in my favor. Fair Graham had agreed with me that there was a risk of vehicles hitting my building, and having more of a buffer was a good idea. And I guess they were able to explain to Don that the stairwell is my private property, and they could not fill it in. My next tribulation I'm encountering is with regards to the certificate of zoning compliance. I submitted my application towards the end of April, along with the required fee. It has been almost a month now, and I'm still waiting to receive it. I've been emailing Jen Morrison every so often asking for an update on the status. And after being ignored for about a week, I received an email on Friday, May 17th, saying that she forwarded the application to B&F and that they will be doing an inspection on Monday, the 20th, which is today. There is no inspection requirement for being issued this certificate, so I asked why they are requiring one. I have not yet received an explanation. I've been attending the village board meetings, and they are always talking about how all they want is compliance with the ordinances. I'm sitting here thinking, I'm complying with the ordinances. I'm getting all of the permits required. I'm filing for the certificate of zoning compliance. But why won't they follow their ordinances that have a clear outline of what is required to be issued a certificate? For reference, the requirements are: every applicant for a certificate of zoning compliance shall submit to the administrator.
Cut you off. You've had more than 5 minutes. Okay?
Okay,
And
I
we
would like.
received that letter. Letters are part of the record.
May I continue to ask, why have I not received a certificate of zoning compliance? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move to reports and actions. Village engineer, Chastain.
Okay, well, as you can see, the Shabana Water Main project has started, and Apache Street is underway. Be patient, it's gonna be messy. Everything's being excavated and all the pipes going in the ground. But, you know, once everything's in the ground, it'll be cleaned up, and be nice to move on after that. It's just one of those things with construction jobs, you know, it does make it difficult during construction. We're not ready for any pay estimates yet on the water main project, but that'll be coming next month. That'll be the first pay estimate that we'll be bringing forth from that. Any questions on those projects? Okay, and Cindy, I think you've got an issue that we'll be addressing, you know, with service and water lines.
Yeah.
So, yep, okay.
Any other questions for Curtis?
Yeah, I think I understand it right, that the lead line replacements, if I read it right, they, from like the Buffalo box, and they be replaced to 18 inches within the inside of the basement or where they go in, crawl space for how they're done. And then the homeowner's responsible for that point
Right,
inside.
that's correct, that's correct.
That's what I
Yep. And the contractor is responsible for restoration of the outside.
Yeah. Okay.
The contractor is responsible?
Yes, it's in the specifications that the contractor is
Oh, okay, 'cause
responsible.
what we signed said that the village was
The-
responsible.
Yeah, the IEP agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, we placed that responsibility on the contractor in the specifications.
okay.
Yep, driveways, sod, you know, that type of restoration. You have any questions, buddy, or?
There's only 2 lead lines all the way to the house.
Right.
On there, the rest are all
Within the street.
within the street.
So there's not gonna be as many services going from the Buffalo Boss to the house is what we originally thought, so instead of, what was it, 8, I think we had
Yeah,
originally?
we sent out
I
8
think.
notices,
Uh,
and there's only 2.
there's only 2.
No, the whole line is only 2 of them.
Right, from the Buffalo box to the house. Yeah, on
We're
this,
still,
the
we're
other
still
6.
disturbing the lead line from the main to the Buffalo box, so that's bad too.
Right.
That's why it's considered
So
a whole
which
line.
2 is it hitting?
Yours and 211.
Okay.
Well-
208 and 211.
How many are there south of Rutherford?
No,
None?
no, there was just 8 total on the whole project.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
that's a newer water main down there.
That's what I kind of thought. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's nice, that'd be less quantity we'll have to pay for on that, yeah. So, okay. If you got any questions at any time, you know, just give me a call, or, you know, Bob Pinniger's our guy on site. As you can tell, you know, Bob's been around construction for a long time. And he'll get a hold of either myself or Mark Painter, the engineer on the job.
Make a comment, the guys on Apache Street, they don't stand around.
No,
They're
no,
busy. They've got a lot
they're
done
working
to do
fools,
that.
that's for sure. Yeah, they're working fools. Might look like a bomb went off, but they're working fools.
It does, yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right, Bud,
Oh,
that would be you, yeah.
yeah, it's got a sleeper here. Okay, we put gravel behind the downtown and got that graded up some, you know, there in that alleyway. Been working with Martin O'Brien and Elliot Wood on locates for uptown and on Apache and on North Shadow Road. We also worked with Chastain for the response to the wastewater treatment plant issues that we had. And we got all that stuff filed and sent back to the EPA. Jen sent that. And also we responded to the IEPA inspection report that we got from them a couple months ago, the 12th of April, I think it was. We had the inspection, that's all been done. I was working on continuing education on my water license, as I can't go out and shovel and do that kind of stuff. The hydrant has a meter on it for the community garden now, out here. The radios have been delivered for the village. We have one that's on back order, and that's for the big truck, but we've got all 4 handhelds and 2 of the mounted ones, and they're in the vehicles. They came out this past week and did that. Okay, flags for uptown for Memorial Day. Are you shaking your head no?
No, are they?
No, do we put them up still? I thought she was shaking her head no.
No, I'm sorry.
No, I don't, did we have them up there last year?
Yeah, we put them up every year, but
We
it's
can
kind
get
of
them up,
open.
yeah.
Okay,
When are they gonna do the streetlights up there?
I'm wondering, because we usually leave them up all summer.
Get with Royce.
I'll talk to Royce,
Yeah,
because John's gonna have to find the ladder.
because they're gonna take the poles down.
Yeah. You know, and I like to have the flags up, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to,
Right.
okay.
Okay, I got you.
Any other questions?
Anything else, for Bud?
Will they have the little banners, light poles?
We didn't put those up.
We haven't
last
put
year.
them up, we'll have to be waiting for the,
Yeah.
we haven't had banners up in quite a few years.
No, most of them, the wind. did
Yeah,
the
it's just
most.
like-
The new streetlights have different, smaller size
Yeah,
banners.
rather than the
that
big
pop.
sails. Was that
Look
over?
into once we have streetlights in our dimensions.
Any other questions for Bud? All right. Let's go to committee reports, infrastructure, Mark.
I don't have a whole lot new to report. We haven't had meetings since early April. I see later on there's the streetscaping report. I can make some comments on that, because I do talk to Royce at least once a week, occasionally twice a week, and kind of let everybody know where that stands.
Okay. Allison, anything for finance?
No, nothing for finance.
How about development? Anything on the,
No, I mean, not from like our committee, the other one, we're, working with the engineer regarding Pretty Park
Pretty Park.
design and all that, so,
okay.
and there was a meeting Thursday, just discuss, you know, different, well, we need to find out exactly how much the park is gonna cost before we discuss like fundraisers and things like that, but, so just discussing things like that.
Then we'll go with the public affairs, Dave.
We have a meeting coming up on June 6th, right here at 6 p.m. To discuss the 4th of July festival. I think everything's pretty well wrapped up. We just need to like go over everything, make sure everything's wrapped up. So, we're good. Looking good.
Saturday morning.
Farmers market.
Farmers market, yeah. Saturday morning farmers market starts June 1st, I believe. So, if anybody can attend, that'd be really great.
Okay. And what was the last thing? Thought there was something else you had going on.
Community garden.
Community garden.
That's already been, it's up and running. Got some pretty nice looking little gardens in there. Could use some more. If anybody wants to put in a garden. Yeah, you guys are there?
Anything for, anybody else have anything else for public affairs? If not, everybody has taken a look at the sheriff's report. I think there's 2 of them in there for the past 2 months, because they were running a little late on the one. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, let's move on to the village clerk. First item, approval of the regular board minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the
Second.
April 22nd.
Second.
Board meeting minutes.
Roll call on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Next item will be zoning. Permits issued, plans reviewed, and the zoning board.
Permit issued, reports in there for your review. There's been one more since I published that. So, and then there's about 5 of them pending payments. Or redo of plan reviews in a couple cases. Changes to building code status, that's the municipal minute page I gave out in the packet. If you don't get the municipal minute, it's a great thing to get. I can forward you one so you can subscribe. But this is notification that as of last August 2023, they signed into law changes to the 2 state statutes. One of them is if you make any changes to your building code, the law as of January 1st, you have to notify the Capital Development Board. What they did send out also was a letter to the clerk to respond to by June, end of June, what building code you're currently on for the records, which ours is mostly the 2018 international. So, and then they have to approve any changes in the future, so, for different ordinances. So just kind of an FYI.
Was this to, okay, if I can ask a question? Was the intent of this to make the building codes as uniform as possible?
I think so, from the way I interpreted and read this, and based on the letter they sent requesting to know, they've got it all broken out by what's your residential code, what's your plumbing, mechanical, all those, as well as if there are any changes coming this year to your building ordinance.
Yeah, I think the idea ultimately is to get every community in the state to have a building code that is not more than 9 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure what year our building code is, Jim, do you know?
2018.
Yeah. We're in good shape.
Because we're following the internationals, we changed that, what, 4 years
Yeah,
ago?
but a lot of,
3 years
but a
ago?
lot of communities don't adopt the newer international codes.
Prior to that, we were in 2000 again,
Yeah.
so,
That
so we were
yeah.
about 18 years behind on that.
Yeah.
Any questions on that? Next item, zoning board nominations to fill 2 vacant zoning board seats, Laura Shep and Angela Dower. What do we have for that?
The board needs to motion, second
I-
to approve.
I need the board to approve my two nominations of Laura Shep and Angie.
Can I,
Make the motion to approve.
I ask a question first?
Go ahead.
Can I have them introduce themselves, everybody in the board, and maybe
Say
say a
here.
few things about it?
Hi, I'm
Laura?
Laura, I'm Laura Shepp. I'm new to Chavanaugh, but I do have a background that consists of construction. I come from a family of a construction contractor. I've also been familiar with looking at drawing. Just back years ago, I was a sales business manager for a fire alarm company. And so we installed a lot of fire alarms, pulled permits and such. So I'm familiar with zoning in that respect. And I also have two resources in my back pocket, which are my daughters. They are infrastructure engineers.
I'm Angela Dower, I go by Angie, and I am relatively new to Chavanaugh, but I live in a beautiful old house here in Chavanaugh, and so I am familiar with the surveying and everything that it takes to have new zoning. And I love Chavanaugh, so I appreciate the nomination.
Okay, so I have
I make a motion.
a motion. I have a second to that motion.
Was that for both? or-
Yes, you're both. Laura Shepp and Angie Dow.
I'll need a roll call vote on this then, right? No, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? If you guys could step up here, please, and Jen will swear you in.
We'll do this.
I call them cheat sheets. Oh, wrong one. Thank you. So if you could raise your right hand. I state your name,
I, Angela Dower,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of zoning board member
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of zoning board member
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Awesome. You can keep that copy,
Okay?
and I just need you to sign this copy for file. And then if you could fill this out and email it back to me or drop it at the office.
All right.
All right, Laura, if you could raise your right hand. I state your name,
I, Laura Shepp,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of zoning board member to the best of my ability.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of zoning board to the best of my ability.
You could sign this one. And I also gave you a sheet. Fill it out and scan or email it back or drop it off at the office.
This,
The second
the
page.
second page.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You'll get a week or two notice.
We do, economic statements.
Yes, they will next year. That'll be a zoning meeting either in June or July.
Okay.
We haven't had one yet this year, so.
Okay. Moving on to item C, applications for zoning compliance, 104 West Comanche and 103 West Comanche.
So 103 West Comanche, the zoning compliance certificate was issued today. 104 West Comanche, I apologize. I had misplaced that application and I finally found it. Actually, and I will issue that tonight when I get home.
Thank you.
No other questions there. Let's move on to item 3, the news release from the IEPA.
That was another FYI regarding our IEPA loan for the Shabana Road project. Both Brad from Illinois Municipal League, the president of IML, and Representative Fritz sent congratulatory notes to the village for getting one of 205 million in loans. That's what was issued in third quarter of fiscal year 24, with over 20 million in loan forgiveness granted. We didn't get 200 million.
Nah.
We're on the bottom of the second page. We got 950,000 and forgiveness of 475.
Okay. We'll move on to financials. The first item will be approval of the bills and payroll for May 2024. I need a motion.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
I have a second. Discussion? If there's no discussion, can I have a roll call, please?
Roll call vote. Jeff Cooker?
Yes.
Mark Cinnamon?
Yes.
Allison Kidd Props?
Yes.
David Simpson?
Yes.
Joy Fay?
Yes.
And Denny is absent. Motion carried.
Next item, we'll move on to the financials, the donation request. We have Lee Arallo. I believe we give to each of these annually. Lee Arallo, Shabana Fireworks, and Waterman Summer Recreation. I would ask, what did we give Lee Arallo last
It's
year?
noted in the bottom.
Okay, 250. Okay, and the
We
other
need to
one?
do them one at a time.
Okay, I
please.
thought they could do them all together. All right.
They'll probably all be different dollars.
All right, for the Lee Rollo Shabana Community Chest, I need a motion to donate $250.
Motion.
Second.
I have a second. Discussion?
What do they do again?
Yeah, sure.
They give,
Yeah, we got the brochure,
Yeah, let's see,
brochures
Dave
right there, Dave.
Contributed to.
yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion? If there's no further discussion, could I have a roll call vote, please?
Roll call vote. Joy Fay?
Yes.
Jeff Cooker?
Yes.
Mark Cinnamon?
Yes.
Allison Kidd Props?
Yes.
David Simpson?
Yes.
Denny's absent. Motion carried.
Okay, Shabana Fireworks, last year we gave $750. I need a motion to either take it up, leave it at where it's at, or take it down.
I make the motion, we donate 800.
I have a motion for 800. Second?
I'll second.
All right, I got a second. Discussion?
Are they gonna continue this fireworks thing, or is it on its last leg?
I don't know.
Doesn't they say last year that
That's
it
what they
was
said last year,
questionable? That's why,
Yeah,
They said they posted out that they still needed funds for this year.
for this year.
It's going this year.
yeah. Any other discussion? If Denny were here, he could better tell us, but unfortunately he's not here.
I think, I don't know about the water rack one, but the other ones, I think were at the DeKalb County Gives, they were in that group.
I know the fireworks.
I think many of them received more money this year, don't they? I think.
The fireworks received something over 2,000, and Lee Shabana Rollo received, I think, less than 2,000.
Okay.
Wasn't there enough for the pathway, I saw numbers.
What's the date of this request?
It's the letter that came in our mailbox this month.
A second?
Yeah,
Or second?
I would say. Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote to donate $800 to Shabana Fireworks. Joy Fay,
Yes.
Mark Cinnamon,
Yes.
David Simpson,
No.
Allison Kidd Probst.
Yes.
Jeff Cooker,
Yes.
4-1 with 1 absent, motion carried.
Okay, Waterman Summer Recreation. Last time in 2022, we donated $100. Apparently they didn't make a request last year.
Yeah, never
Just-
received any.
Just a question, the event, do they use it for the event or is it just for the whole, like, season or year, or whatever?
The
'Cause-
board had donated a couple times before, and I marked for that it's used towards equipment,
Okay,
the field or equipment.
okay,
It's up to you
I
guys.
think it says in the letter, if it's cash, it goes towards equipment. But they-
okay. It's just that the event happened this past weekend, so that's why I was asking that question, it's like, so.
I need a motion.
It was dated April 10th, but it didn't show up in the mailbox till after the last board
Yeah,
meeting.
I know Indian Creek Recreation still exists, correct?
It does, yes,
I thought it did.
yes, it
Um,
does.
In the, how many kids from, I'm sure there's kids from Chavna that are Waterman Rec, it's more for boys
So
baseball.
the boys' baseball is run under Waterman Summer Rec, and the girls' softball is
That's
run
right.
under Indian Creek Summer Rec, so that's how they divide those up.
That's what I thought.
I'll make a motion to donate $100 to Waterman Summer Rec.
Second.
I have a second discussion.
So this money will definitely benefit people in this community.
Yeah.
Yes,
Indian
the
Creek,
boys, yeah. Yeah, not Indian Creek, but the boys, yeah.
Okay. No other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote to donate $100 to Water Summer Recreation for use on equipment. Allison Kidd Probst.
Yes.
Joy Fay,
Yes.
David Simpson,
Yes.
Denny's absent. Jeff Cooker,
Yes.
Mark Cinnamon,
Yes.
motion carried.
Next item would be the treasurer's report as of April 30, 2024. I need a motion to accept.
Motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll second.
I have a second discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote to accept the treasurer's report of April 30th, 2024. David Simpson,
Yes.
Jeff Cooker,
Yes.
Joy Fay,
Yes.
Mark Cinnamon,
Yes.
Allison Kidd Probst.
Yes.
And Denny's absent, motion carried.
Next item we have is utilities, the Shavana Road Project. Questions? Go ahead,
Okay.
Treasurer.
When I was collecting the forms that needed to be signed off on, questions came up, I sent the questions to Bob, whatever his position is.
He's a, field tech.
And he forwarded them to Martin, so they were aware. Two of the neighbors have the wireless, dog fences, and they wanted to make sure they wouldn't tear those up. They were concerned about the, flushing once every 2 weeks for 3 months for 30 minutes at a time until testing says there's no lead. And so on that one, I said I would bring it to the board. My suggestion is so that would just be the two of us then that have to do that. My suggestion is, an average bill, for the quarters that they have to do flushing, that was the concern. And it was coming out of one of them that turns out, well, they still have to flush, don't they? Even if they don't have the full amount into the house.
Yeah, they'll still need to flush,
So
but,
everyone will still have to do the flushing.
right, but that whole lead surface is really the ones it's aimed at.
Okay, okay, so that's 8 people on the street that, signed off, but that was one of the concerns, was that their water usage is gonna be high. Until that testing comes back and says we don't have to do flushing every 2 weeks.
Do they usually have high bills along there?
Yeah. Yeah, few of them have really high bills.
Then we
So we
should
gotta
be
treat
paying
them all the same.
all, okay, so you're saying they all either get a minimum?
No, I'm saying I would average what their bill
What their bill
normally
is
is for
for-
the last year.
For the last year,
That's how I
okay.
do an average, and then
I
that's
can see
what they
that.
would get.
Do you need a motion for that?
I need you
No.
guys' approval.
Okay.
I
Yeah, I
think
say
everybody's in agreement, yeah,
yeah,
just
I
go
say
ahead
that's
with
fine.
It's
that.
a money thing, you need to.
Oh, we got a
Okay.
motion.
and-
All
Yeah, it-
right, then we
it
need
is
a
a money
motion.
Then I'll make a motion for Cindy to average their bills from the last year to create an invoice.
For the
For
time
the
that we-
time that it's
yeah.
affecting, yes.
Second.
I have a second. Discussion? If there's no discussion, roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote to average water bills for the 8 residents that will have to do bi-weekly flushing following lead line replacement. Allison Kidd Probst.
Yes.
Joy Fay.
Yes.
Mark Cinnamon.
Yes.
David Simpson.
Yes.
Jeff Cooker.
Yes.
Motion carried.
The restoration of the ground surface,
Oh, yeah, the restoration of the ground surface, Curtis has answered that question,
Oh,
that's
okay.
up to the contractors, it's not on us, so
okay.
that's new point. But I did have one other report for you under utilities. 103 West Cherokee, the house is going into foreclosure. The bank has contacted me and informed me that they have water damage inside suddenly. And we did, when we took the readings, 434,000 gallons had gone through last quarter. Buddy and John,
140.
Well, that's what it said, but the water's been
434,000.
off, so.
yeah, but the water's been off. John and Buddy went right away, cause I didn't have notice that a bank had it. I called Cindy, the owner, and she couldn't get in, she didn't have keys, she was gonna give me the information for who was taking it over, and they finally called, she never called me back. So, I've been in communication, we've been leaving messages this last week, and she has the information that we had shut it off last July, the last time, and, so it's been off all this time, and then suddenly there was this usage, so, and now she's saying they've got water damage. So just to make you aware, this is an ongoing, I don't know where it's gonna go from here. She never got back to me again today.
That's right down, right?
Yeah, the old Davies
Ladies
house,
and gentlemen, yeah.
so.
Any questions for Cindy? All right, then we will move on to item E. This will be the annual appropriations ordinance for the village of Shabana. We'll be looking in consideration, we're looking for the approval. We've had 2 readings. This is the final approval of the 2024-25-20A fiscal year 25 appropriations ordinance. I will need a motion to accept that appropriations.
I make a motion to accept the appropriation.
Okay.
I have a second. Any discussion? If there is no discussion, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Roll call vote to approve ordinance 2024-05-20, parentheses A, appropriations for fiscal year 25. Joy Fay.
That's,
David
yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Allison Kidd Probst.
Yes.
Mark Cinnamon.
Yes.
Jeff Cooker.
Yes.
1 absent, motion carried.
Okay, move on to old business. Under old business, we have property notices violations update.
Do you have any updates?
Heard anything back? 108 West Cherokee and 108 South Alina had received notices to clean up the properties and remove vehicles. On the
Was Cherokee, we've heard nothing back from him. 108 South Illini,
next to that joint.
and I have not heard 304 West Navajo. I believe, I don't know if BNF went back there to inspect the exterior of the building. I haven't heard anything back from them, so I'll have to contact the BNF. I don't think they've heard any. I know we've sent notices to 108, and I think 108 South Carolina. So we'll have to follow up on those. Any questions? Move on to the vacant buildings. On the vacant buildings, what have we done with,
No property owners of registered vacant buildings nor have any requested to present plan for remediation to the board.
we have not received anything from the vacant buildings, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Then we'll move on to downtown streetscape update. I think we have a representative from Fair Graham. Buddy, have you seen anything new? I know the parking is, they're working on the north side now, and the north sidewalk.
Mark did have a comment.
Go ahead.
Have you talked to Royce this last few days?
No, I haven't.
I talked to him on, it was the middle of last week, I think. And he said everything was going well, you know, there's been some adjustments made, and he thought, we're done by the end of June. Pretty soon, so it's moving along pretty good.
Are the streetlights in?
No.
They haven't arrived yet, right?
Not that I'm aware of. And there's some hardware that
Still on.
I know it won't be finished until the concrete's all poured, cause they gotta adjust it so it's all level and.
Right.
I don't know the status of possession of streetlights, but they got all the electrical done
Yeah.
up front already.
Yeah.
And the plan is for that company to come back and do all the installing.
The south side's done on the electrical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll do the
North
north
side,
side
I
as they
think,
go.
yeah.
And then the install will happen a couple days in a row too. I don't know how long it'll take.
Who's doing the
It minimizes their mobilizations.
planters? Who's doing that?
I don't know offhand.
They have probably a subcontractor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it is.
I don't remember who it is.
Anything else? All right.
North sidewalk, if you don't know, IDOT agreed to cover costs to do 2.5 feet of sidewalk up to buildings beyond the village's right-of-way of sidewalks for the Ainsley office building, the Shabana Cafe, Carter's Gun Shop, and the post office laundromat big building. IDOT's paying for it, it's not costing the owners of the properties anything. All the owners gave verbal consent, and I'm just waiting for 2 to sign the consent form to come back. So Royce talked to everybody and then got with me so I could put together a consent agreement. So I haven't checked the Dropbox at the office, there might be a couple in there, so. That was it, just so everybody's.
All right. Next is item D. This will be the first reading. Everybody has a look at the ordinance amending public safety. And this would be for the consideration approval, 2024-05-20B, the adjudication ordinance. Goes into pretty much detail of how the adjudication will be handled. A minor question on does abandoned vehicles, that doesn't come under the IDC, does it, or?
It's in our ordinance.
It's in the ordinance?
Yeah.
Okay,
Not this ordinance, but it's in our ordinance.
okay. Because I just wanted to make sure, because it's not IDC, we're not enforcing IDC on this, but being an inoperable motor vehicle. Okay. So if you take some time to read this over, this will be the first time you get a shot at it. You know, I'd like to, if you guys could read it over and have passed this in June. That way we can start making steps to line up adjudication officers and all of the paperwork. There's gonna be a considerable amount of paperwork that's involved with this, notifications, etc. Now, all of the costs should be incorporated into the violations. Sure. We should recoup the cost for all of this through violations. If we don't have violations, then we're not gonna have an adjudication court. If we don't have a court, then we don't incur any cost. But we are looking at some adjudicators in the area that are working with some other villages and also looking at paper progress through other villages, how they do it. We know that there are programs out there. We also know that they're very expensive, but a good Excel sheet can probably handle most of the tracking. So please take a close look at it. If you have any questions, let me know. I can, turn them over to the counselor, and we can move that from there. Any questions immediately? Your first flush.
Is the village going to be employing anybody to be like the hearing person present, or is that gonna fall
Yeah.
to?
An adjudicator?
Right.
Well, not in addition to the adjudicator, who's going to be sitting representing,
Yeah.
The
not as an attorney, but to keep the records and.
Yeah, it can be, there can be a police officer, code enforcement officer, or an attorney representing the village at the hearings.
Then we have to pay them.
Right.
And then the clerk said, I was explaining to Jen before the meeting, I said, there's gonna be some work that Jen's office is gonna have to do.
And depending on the complexity and the amount of work, the council may want to consider increasing the hours.
Well, that was my next question then.
Yeah.
Because I am familiar with how these work, and it is, depending on, I don't see it being a lot in this village, but it is going to be, well, it's gonna be an expense we're gonna have to bear.
Yeah, again, if it comes out of the fines, we should be okay. But I can also see that it's gonna be a belt, it's gonna go up immediately, and then it'll drop off, I think, in the future.
I think most communities would say that the fines are covering costs, cover the expense.
Well, that's assuming that he's gonna be guilty or liable.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's, I would anticipate that there's gonna be probably people that are not gonna be found liable as well, we're still gonna have to bear that expense.
Right.
I think just the few municipalities I've talked to, there's not a whole lot, but they've been very happy with it. And then I've talked to other ones that they've used the system for a long time, and they said that it was probably the best thing they ever did. It expedites things, it's the fairest way in their opinion to do it, and it was much quicker, much quicker.
Any other questions? Let's move on to new business. Turn this over to you, Jen.
All right, crossing
Crossing
guards is on the agenda because after, I'm not sure how many years, I'm trying to figure it out. Her last paperwork was from only paperwork is from 2014 forwards, and I'm thinking it might have been earlier than that. Denise Hopi has tendered her resignation effective the last day of school, which is this Thursday, as crossing guard. So she's not finding another job, she's just decided she's at that age that she doesn't wanna do it or need to do it anymore. So, May 23rd is the last day of school, so the last day is crossing guard. I'm guessing she's done it at least 20 years, because of 2014, I'm thinking it's longer than that. I'll find the date.
She had 2 stints. She did it for a while, went to school, and came back out.
Yes,
So,
yep.
So it's been a
maybe
while.
25 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a year or two.
Yeah.
She's been dependable, she's been dedicated to her job, she was great with the kids and the parents and everything over all these years.
She did.
On behalf of the village, I did get her a gift and a card, and I plan on delivering it to her at the beginning of her last shift this Thursday. 2:15 is the dismissal, I thought I'd get there at 2:30, so I'm inviting anybody else that wants to show up if they're able to.
2:30.
Thursday at 2:30, because if it's raining hard, it'll be very short. So, but to thank her, because, I mean, she did a wonderful job over all these years on Shabana Road there. And I will also notify the elementary school so that they're aware, so that if any, they can put a notice out through their system to parents and that. It does bring up the fact that we need to find another crossing guard. So, yeah.
So if any of you know of anyone,
We have 2.5 months. I will post a job out on the village website after school's done. probably right after Labor Day, and post it out on Facebook. Our substitute crossing guard is not interested in more hours. She likes the substitute thing because she goes out of town a lot.
Who's that?
So, Mary Davis. So, but she said, if initially, and I give her enough notice to coordinate with her, we need some coverage, then, she'll be happy to do that.
What corner is it?
It's, Shabana Road at Cherokee. So,
You want
So
to
it
get
gets the high school kids.
Yeah.
high school and some elementary.
Yeah.
And middle
The
school.
drivers is what I was.
Yeah, middle
referring
school
to.
too, because, they
walk.
have to go up to the high school to catch the shuttle. So, yeah. I don't know how many kids cross there,
Not very many.
but I just wanted to share that with everybody, so.
All
I'll
right.
put an email out to remind you of the date and time. And I'll put it,
Now's not the time to talk about it, but I'm a fan of the villages having to pay for crossing guards. Personally, it costs us a lot of money, actually.
I did when, offered to the, school, when we, provided them with that section of land, I said, in good faith, you take over the crossing guards and we do the land. That didn't go over there. So, we didn't have that. Anyway, we're now at the executive session.
no, your witness slip.
Oh, I'm sorry, I had a witness slip. I have been asked by the attorney for the Potawatomi, and I think the representative office in Springfield, to sign a proponent slip to testify in Springfield. I won't be going down there, but they would like to have us have a signature. So I'm just looking for a nod of approval to go ahead and sign a signature slip for the hearing.
What's this a hearing for?
I think the properties that they're taking over as,
Next to the Forest Reserve?
yeah, those two buildings, they wanna make one
Office. and
like a
not
base of operations and the other one will be a living quarters. So it's just a component of that.
Are they available on the website?
I was sent it by the representative. Yeah. I'll be taking a look at it. I just got it today, otherwise I would have much more information, but right now, if you just give me a nod of approval, I'll go ahead and do that. So, that brings us to the end of our regular meeting.
Did we get a consensus?
Yeah, I think I did, everybody said, yeah. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
We're opposed. All right, thank you. Okay, now, I need a motion to go to executive session.
I will make a motion to go into executive session.
Second?
I have a second. Discussion? If there's no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.